WHPC Garden City, New York, the voice of Nassau Community College.
Listen.
Join WHPC's Daily News Wrap-Up, weekdays at 4:30 p.m., bringing you a complete report of the day's news home and abroad, as well as sports, weather, and many other informative features.
We're Long Island's FM alternative.
Welcome to another edition of From the Pressbox. We're here every Monday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., talking about sports and maybe some other things, too. I'm Rob Leonard, and joining me, of course, is my brother Tim.
Last name Leonard?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right. And yes, we are brothers. Just for those who might want to say, hey, are those guys brothers? Yes, we are.
I think when you introduced me as your brother, they probably figured it out by now.
Well, you know, sometimes people are confused. Well, it's been another interesting week in sports. Michael Strahan gets inducted into the NFL Hall of, or the Football Hall of Fame, we should say.
Yes, the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Pro Football, not the NFL, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Also, the Yankees made a trade with the Red Sox. Interesting.
That paid off immediately last night, by the way.
Which, of course, makes you happy. And
that being me.
Also,
and Yankee fans all over the world.
Of course, the most important thing, though, Sharknado 2 aired on Sci-Fi this past week.
I will not apologize for saying I love Sharknado. Loved it. And even better, if you go on Twitter and you just type in the hashtag you do a search, type in the hashtag Sharknado 2.
Right.
The tweets, especially last week after the first airing, I read them for close to an hour and just laughed. I mean, just absolutely hysterical stuff being put out there by people, just about everything, anything and everything, all kinds of stuff. It was that funny. The movie did not disappoint, despite the objections of a friend of ours who did not want me to watch it.
We won't mention his name.
Not mentioning a name. But he did not want me to watch it and suggested that I watch the Giants. Said, how do you compare Sharknado to preseason football? Come on.
Who wants preseason football? Shouldn't even exist. I know why it exists, but it shouldn't exist.
So I went, instead of going back and forth between the Yankees Red Sox and the Giants Bills last night, I went between the Yankees Red Sox and Sharknado 2.
Sharknado, man. I mean, it's just, and you know, Citi Field was also in there too.
Citi Field. That was the best part of the movie. The guy, and I don't even know his name. But the guy who was on Spin City,
Richard Kind,
is that his name? Yeah. All right, fine, whatever you say. He played an ex-Major League Baseball player. Now, how the biggest, in fact, this was actually the biggest problem that I had with the movie was that Richard Kind, thank you very much for the name, played a former second baseman. Now, second basemen are typically pretty small guys.
Yeah, well,
Richard Kind is not a small. They should have made him a catcher or an outfielder or something. But a second baseman,
part of the believability of Sharknado 2.
There was no believability.
And Tara Reid, of course, should be nominated for an Emmy.
No, Ian Ziering.
Ian Ziering.
Excuse me, however he pronounces it. Definite.
I just voted for him
Emmy.
because he used to sleep with a Playboy model.
Emmy Award. He was married to Nikki Ziering.
Yeah.
Who was still very hot, by the way. But that aside, Ian Ziering, for sure. I mean, if he doesn't get an Emmy Award for Sharknado, I'm personally going to be disappointed.
I know. Doesn't he have I didn't see the whole thing. I didn't even actually see it. I'm not going.
Well, let me go back.
Doesn't he have like a
chainsaw?
A chainsaw. And
he
cuts the fish up. He fillets it. Basically,
it's absurd.
I saw one where a clip where he fillets. It looks like he filleted a shark.
He does a bend over backwards move. Like something like Neo in what's the movie I'm thinking of? Matrix, yes, and flips over backwards and holds the revving chainsaw up and cuts the shark exactly in half. As he's doing a fade, it had to be. The movie had so many homages in it that it was. I lost track of all of them, and it had so many cameos in it that it just every cameo I saw practically it was another reason to laugh. And there were some people in there who I didn't even recognize. Like I knew the face, I didn't know the name, and I'm like, okay, that person's famous for something. I have no idea what though.
And also, the Mets got involved this weekend. I saw on their website they were giving away discount tickets based on the fact that Citi Field was in Sharknado 2.
Well, that's where I was coming back
I'm
to.
Saying, can't like the shark
bring some hitters or something?
Well, that's what I was coming back to, because Richard Kind, first of all, I've even Sharknado, you've never seen people clear out of Citi Field as fast as they did in Sharknado. And that's saying something, because Citi Field does clear out pretty quick most days.
Thank you, brother.
There you go. But Richard Kind is sitting there, somehow finds a bat, happens to have a bat in his hand. Like, nobody is allowed in a game with a bat, first of all right? And Ian Ziering's friend or something had a bat that was like 6 feet tall. I don't know where this thing came from or how he was allowed in the ballpark with it. But Richard Kind, the former Major League Baseball player, second baseman, sees a shark coming at him. So he grabs the bat, he gets into his stance, and swings that Hall of Fame swing that he supposedly had, his character, and crushes the shark into the scoreboard, which, I mean, how can you just not howl with laughter? It was unbelievably funny. So it's like a moment out of the natural almost, because you have explosions and all kinds of stuff going on. Never mind how does anybody with a bat hit a shark that probably had to weigh at least 200 pounds 400 feet into a scoreboard.
When you're Richard Kind, you get to do that.
I would, I mean, if it would have been anywhere close to real, I would have had to be saying steroids on that. But
maybe the Mets can do a thing like they had a couple of weeks ago where you watch a game, the West Coast game, and you bring your tents and you go on.
The overnighter, yes,
which costs a lot of money.
It costs like $100 or something.
Yeah, it's really expensive each person, not like a tent. Per tent or something.
That was sleep in the outfit. It's kind of a cool thing, but it's definitely pricey.
Yeah, have show Sharknado 2.
Put it on the big screen.
Put it on the big screen.
By the way, Sharknado 3 is coming.
Of course, they've already planned it.
They had the advertisement at the end of the movie.
Of course.
Coming in 2015, Sharknado 3. I can't wait.
Tara Reid's career has been saved.
But Tara Reid only has one hand now.
Oh well, she's going to be like who's that girl? Michelle Rodriguez in that Robert Rodriguez movie. Where she loses her leg or something.
Sin City?
No, the one where her leg turns into a machine gun.
Kill Bill?
No.
I don't know which one you're talking about. I don't see a lot of movies.
Grindhouse or something like that. I think that's it.
I think Grindhouse sounds right.
Yeah, there was a combination
of
Robert Rodriguez and
it was a combo film.
And Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
It made it seem like you were at a grindhouse in Times Square.
It was like a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah. Well, there were 2 movies.
Yeah.
And, stuff like that.
They messed that up.
You know who's in that? Kurt Russell. And they did a thing, was it Netflix or someone did a thing on the Portland Mavericks, who Kurt Russell's dad owned or something.
Well, Kurt Russell actually played minor league ball.
Right.
We did a story about him years ago at minorleaguebaseball.com.
Yeah, so he's
giving a shout out to my peeps out there.
He's been out there. Anyway, we are talking sports as we always do. We should say that we will be talking with Jeff Roberts of the Bergen Record in the next quarter hour. Talk about Yankees and
award-winning journal, multiple APSE award-winning writer Jeff Roberts.
I'll make sure you remind him of that.
He's outstanding.
And let's start with Michael Strahan. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Football Hall of Fame.
Pro Football. I think it's pro. I don't know. Whatever.
It might be. I don't even know.
The one in Canton.
But it's interesting how, if you look at how his career has changed. When he first came in, he was kind of the angry guy. He didn't want to deal with the media. Now he's Mr. Media. He's on TV. He's on Good Morning America. He's hanging out with Kelly Ripa.
Yeah, kind of funny how that happened, how he went from threatening sports writers to being a member of... I don't even know if he's a member of the media. What he does really isn't even media. But,
no, it isn't, but he's part of the media.
But he can
get a press pass.
He's a TV star now.
Yeah, and it's funny how that kind of changed. You have him, Jeremy Shockey, and Tiki Barber, all three sort of at the same time, undermining Tom Coughlin.
They were bad boys.
Jeremy Shockey's gone. He's not going anywhere.
Long gone. Probably Tiki, back home in Louisiana somewhere.
If Tiki had stayed one more season, and this is why Strahan's loved. Strahan came back that last season, even though he's a pain in the butt that last season. Remember that he held out to like the end of camp.
Deservedly so. I think part of the reason for the holdout was he didn't want to go through the preseason.
Right. I agree with you. But Tiki retired before that. Now, if Tiki had stayed one more season and won the Super Bowl, I think Giant fans would like him a lot more. I think he thought he's this huge ego. He thought he was going to be Frank Gifford, and he wasn't.
Well, see, here's what I'm going to drop on you right now. Ironic, is it not, that Michael Strahan's career has basically become what Tiki Barber thought his career was going to be.
Good point.
All right? Nobody anticipated television for Michael Strahan.
Nope.
Nobody said, hey, Mike, we got a big setup for you. Like, Tiki Barber walked off the field because television was calling his name. Tiki, we need you. Tiki, here's money. We want to pay you. Come on, come be on our broadcast. Wear a nice jacket and
don't
smile
try to get any more
smile.
yards. Don't try to get any more yards on your career.
And what happened? Tiki crashed and burned, and people didn't like him. And I should say Giants fans didn't like him for sure, and television audiences didn't really like him.
Nope.
And Tiki had a very poorly timed incident with his marriage, where he left his pregnant wife for his girlfriend. Which is never a good career move, but especially when your wife is pregnant with twins. But that all kind of sabotaged what he was doing. And then all of a sudden, Michael Strahan got the job with CBS Sports and doing the NFL pregame. I highly doubt.
Was it Fox?
Fox. I'm sorry, my bad. But I highly doubt that Michael Strahan ever had any kind of wishes or hopes or dreams.
He has a slight lisp.
Well, a slight lisp isn't a bad thing. I think I have one, but
no, you're fine.
That's
Your voice is good, Tim.
I have a good radio voice.
Yes,
but Michael Strahan, I can't imagine in his wildest dreams ever thought towards the end of his NFL career, hey, I'm going to do morning television and be on a show with Kelly Ripa, and Kelly Ripa is going to be my new best friend. It's so improbable, and to Strahan's credit, he is somewhat likable.
He is, and he has changed. He has changed his attitude a lot, because, hey...
Money does that.
Well, hey, but it's not just money, because you can be a jerk and have a lot of money, too.
Yeah, but his job is to be friendly and likable and everything like that.
He's sort of fallen into that. You didn't see Tiki fall into that.
Tiki was too stiff. He was too wooden.
He still is.
And that's the problem.
You ever see him when Boomer and Carton take off? They fill in for him on CBS Sports Network.
I'll take your word for it. I don't listen.
I
don't
show.
Watch or listen Boomer and Carton.
They have the morning show,
anyway.
and Tiki's just, Brandon Tierney's just chatting his head off. By the way, Brandon Tierney's an alumni of this radio station, just to let everyone know.
I won't say anything bad.
And then Tiki's just sort of sitting there, and then Dana Jacobson does most of the talking. Yeah, I like her.
As much, and obviously the people listening can't see this. As much as I like Boomer, and I am wearing my University of Maryland T-shirt today.
Yes, the Terrapins.
As much as I like Boomer, I can't listen to that show. It's terrible. So that's the only critique I'm going to say. We're not here to critique other shows.
We're working our way towards
exactly.
that
I'm sure people criticize us maybe once, twice, but
maybe I don't even know.
Anyway, so let's talk Strahan. Let's talk Strahan's speech.
I liked what you just said. I liked what you said about Tiki Barber wish he had Michael Strahan's career.
That's the parallel, and that's
And will Tiki make the Hall of Fame based on his numbers?
No, absolutely not.
But if he stayed 2 more years, he probably would have. He probably would have had 12,000 yards. He would have won a Super Bowl ring.
Well, you can't say that. You can't make those.
You're right.
Could he have had a chance? I mean,
it would have been a different team with Tiki.
Exactly.
Obviously,
you can't make those assumptions just because they won it with one set of guys that they would win it with another. But I mean, it's. I'm trying to think here. I like Strahan's speech. I've never heard so many names dropped in a speech in my life. I have to say. I mean, I don't know if anybody kept count, but I didn't even listen to the whole speech, and I think I heard him say 200 names. It was unbelievable to me. How many? It was just boom, 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 boom,
right.
boom. It was just like, does he have a list? Was he going off the top of his head? He had so many people there, which obviously means that he was a well-liked teammate, because otherwise people aren't going to make those kinds of journeys. The only guy I felt bad for in some way, and Strahan even called him out, was John Runyon, the former Philadelphia Eagles offensive lineman. All right, now John Runyon, I have to find this here, and I'm going to read. Strahan called him 350 pounds of twisted steel and non-sex appeal. All right, now Runyon. First of all, let's picture this. All right, Runyon is 6'9". Where he played anyway. He was 6'9" and 350 pounds. I want the people listening to the show to just try to visualize how large of a human being that is. Because I've covered NFL, I've covered arena football, I've covered a lot of big people. Because there are big people who play that sport. Well, sure. 6'9", 350. I mean, that's barely human. We're talking like another species.
Right.
You can't even imagine how large that is. It's unbelievably large.
It is, but he's.
But I felt bad for the guy because here's Strahan making a speech and thanking everybody and got a big smile on his face and hey, thank my kids. I'm really proud to be your dad. And then he gets to John Runyon and basically just insults the guy.
Well, he called him Twisted